Will NIO stock be negatively impacted if Tesla's earnings on April 23rd do not go well? That's one of the things I'm wondering. Will it actually impact in a negative way all EV stocks? I'm very curious how this plays out, but I want to talk about a couple of the reasons and things that I'm kind of thinking about. One of them, the one day for Tesla, kind of the most recent view, the trend looks negative. It's pretty obviously negative. If we go out 5 days, it also looks negative. If we go out a month, still negative. 6 months, also negative. And now we get out to a year out, and it's now even negative from there. This is kind of an area that I was watching for, and I mentioned it in a recent video that, if Tesla dips down below, then they could drop quite a bit more. And so I don't know if this plays out. I also don't know what the earnings is going to go like, how it's going to be received, but there are some negative things that Tesla has going on, and that's the reality. So here's one of them. Tesla with a recall of apparently 3,878 Cybertrucks over a faulty accelerator pedal. That's a problem and not a good look heading into earnings. Then we've also got this coming out of China. This is the news. And the extent of Tesla's layoffs in China is perhaps much deeper than Elon Musk's stated 10%, as some departments face cuts of 30, 40, and some even 50%. That's a big difference. And it wouldn't shock me just because, heck, I even gave him the nickname Mr. Overhype. And I muted him on his own platform because I don't want to see what he's putting out there. I never know whether I could trust anything he says in the first place. And this is one of the reasons why. If we go back in time, in 2015, Elon Musk told shareholders that Tesla's cars would achieve full autonomy within 3 years. In 2016, he said Tesla would be able to send one of its cars on a cross-country drive without requiring any human intervention by the end of the following year. So he's been making promises about robotaxi since 2015, and it's 2024, and he recently was hyping this again, saying, I think in August, they're going to have some big breakthrough robotaxi thing. I'm wondering if NIO's already surpassed Tesla with its potential for robotaxi. I think they have a big advantage with the compute power that they will have from the power swap stations. I'm curious to see what others are thinking. I wanted to mention a couple of those things. My prediction for the earnings call for Tesla is based on the behavioral pattern that I have seen from Elon Musk in the past in these earnings calls. He will typically find one thing, whether it's Optimus, the robot. I think there was once where he was hyping that. And I laugh because I think if I heard him right, he said that everyone in the world would want 2 Optimus robots. And I was just cracking up. I'm like, does he even think about this stuff when he says it? It's so ludicrous. For 9 years, basically promising robotaxi. I think robotaxi will be the thing that he will hype. But this is usually what he does. About the first 10 minutes of the call, he'll hype something. So my guess is for about 10 minutes, if he's on the call, we'll get Elon hyping something. And if I was going to guess, it wouldn't make sense to hype Cybertruck at this point, right? We just had the recall on that. So I think it makes sense that he would hype robotaxi, talking about how amazing it is. The biggest disconnect is that investors, and that includes Wall Street folks, some of them at least, do not realize how competitive the Chinese EV makers are. I don't think they realize that it's not an accident that some of those companies are taking market share from Tesla. It's a nod to how good they are. And so this is one of those things that I think has to play out. It has, I don't know what the time frame is for, let's say, Americans, for example, to recognize that the Chinese EVs are really good. And then I don't know what kind of attraction there is, and all the geopolitical stuff. I don't know how that all plays out, but it's really hard to imagine that Chinese EVs won't make their way to the US and won't be well adopted. And TikTok is a simple example of that. Absolutely disruptive. TikTok was and has been and continues to be. And a lot of Americans really like it and use it a lot. And a lot of those same Americans in the future will probably not think twice about buying a Chinese EV. Anyway, that's my thought. But drop it in the comments. I want to hear from you. And somebody toss out a prediction for Tesla in the earnings. You think it'll be good, bad? Do you think the stock will drop more? Do you think it affects, the rest of the EV stocks or NIO in particular? What do you think? I want to hear from you. Thanks. Have a great weekend. We'll see you all again very soon.